The Polish Air Force, one of the only air forces that I know of that has now a formalized C-130 Hercules demonstration team.
Yes, as we've established, the US Navy has Fat Albert with the
That's
Blue
right.
Angels, and there are other air forces. The Danes, for example, display the Hercules on occasion, although typically only at their home show, the Danish Air Show. It doesn't really count as a full demonstration team, whereas this performs a modest but nonetheless full schedule of events, not just in Poland, but also, I believe, going international for the first time this year. The display performed for the first time here at Leszno in 2021. It was just a handful of, I think, 3 passes on that occasion. It's grown into a full 15-minute demonstration showing all facets of the C-130's capabilities. And here it comes, starting with a pass directly over the top of the crowd. Fulfill the bulk of their heavy airlift requirements, and specifically to support ground troops on deployment to Chad and Afghanistan. At the time, Poland's primary airlifter was the much smaller C-295M, which can carry 70 passengers or 7.5 tons of payload. The C-130E was a substantial capability improvement with a capacity for 90 passengers, up from 70, and 17 tons of payload, up from 7.5.
The E model, in fact, one of the oldest variants of the Herc, introduced back in 1962. Poland's 5 examples are all second-hand airframes from the United States Air Force, where they were refurbished and effectively gifted to Poland as part of a bilateral military assistance grant.
Yes, indeed, but they are old airframes, and Poland is about to take delivery of 5 newer C-130s, this time C-130Hs, although they are also second-hand refurbished ex-US military equipment. The C-130E and C-130H are in most ways identical. The primary difference is that the E model is powered by the Allison T56A7 engine, whereas the H model has the more powerful T56A15, and that has resulted in a 1.5-ton increase in payload capacity.
A bit of a quick climb there.
Of course, they're physically younger airframes, the C-130Hs that will soon come into service, built about 15 years more recently than these C-130Es. The first of the H models arrived in Poland 2 years ago, and I believe they're expected to enter service in the coming months. Not yet fully decided if they will supplement or replace the C-130E fleet, although certainly some of the oldest C-130Es are, I believe, expected to be withdrawn from use. Now, I think, Luke, what we're going to see now is an imitation tactical approach. The aircraft has climbed to considerable height out to our left. It's going to then pitch the nose down, and often what we see during this tactical approach is a sort of wing rock on the way down, as well as the aircraft side slips to generate drag and stop it from building up too much speed. And at the bottom of the approach, the aircraft will recover at around about 100 feet for a low overshoot.
These tactical approaches used in order to stay out of the range of small arms fire when approaching perhaps an unsecured airfield or a hostile environment. And while the C-130 is very capable of landing on grass, we won't be seeing that today. And it was, in fact, the C-130 that holds the record as the largest and heaviest aircraft ever to land on board an aircraft carrier. That was performed back in the 1960s. And not only did it land on the aircraft carrier, it took off from it and did so some 21 times.
I still need to find that video.
There's some great video on YouTube if you get a chance to look it up.
Yes,
it was just quite wild.
Just been a little bit too busy over the last few days, but I'll put it on my list of things to do as soon as I get home in my 2-day gap between this and heading off abroad for the next show.
Yeah, the U.S. Navy was looking for a aircraft to supplement as a carrier onboard delivery asset, or COD. That was later taken on by the C-2 Greyhound. But, it was a fairly exciting experiment. Big airplane indeed. We're going to watch now from the right as the C-130E approaches once again. What should we be looking for next year, Adam?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that question, because the sequence card is from last year, and this display has been slightly modified. Fantastic intersection of the sun and a steep topside pass. That'll be pleasing the photographers down at the far left-hand end of the showground in the spotters area down in that location.
Well, it does appear our C-130 has returned. Setting up for a pass from our left, and
over the top of the smoke as well.
Yeah. And not only will we get the chance to see it here in its daytime display, but also as we work our way into darkness, we'll get the chance to see the C-130 as it returns for something pretty special.
Yeah, always one of the highlights of Antidotum Airshow, Lesno. Is the Hercules night show, which will include a copious volume of flares, but here another intersection of the sun. Look at that.
I feel like our team, I think Andrew downstairs found the Top Gun LUT to add to that particular shot.
Even now, the smoke of Team Blanix drifting across the airfield and into the crowd out to our right-hand side. Oh, there are some poor people out there who won't be getting much of a view of this. Now, we are about to get... Would I be right in saying our first flares of the day, or have I forgot? Oh, we had the Super Puma earlier for the special fly past.
And in fact, actually, the C-130 deployed a couple of flares on that tactical approach that we saw earlier. But so this might be pass number 3 of the day in total. But I believe that you're correct. We're setting up for a
small
flare pass
dump
here. Yeah,
much smaller than what we'll see later. But still more flares than you see at a typical air show.
That is true.
I.e. more than none.
We're starting to see more and more on the U.S. circuit, which has been a big welcome sight here lately with the F-22 Raptor demo team. We, in fact, even had the chance to see a C-130 perform one in a flyby display at Thunder over Louisville.
Yes, so I saw. And you're right, I've been seeing the Air Combat Command demo team starting to use flares more widely, and I heard initially approved only at overwater display sites, but this season it seems they've been using them at military bases over land on some occasions as well.
Yes, we're starting to see more of that. It really comes down, I think, to the handling of the flares and storage, particularly just from a safety element point of view. So, of course, the military bases typically are a little more better suited for that kind of thing. But, we certainly love having them.
What's nicer with this display, though, is that it's not a fixed sequence to which flares have been added. It is a sequence that has been designed around the flare. So that last manoeuvre, the slight negative G bunt followed by the break off to our left-hand side, that would have been designed as a flare drop manoeuvre. Now here is the pass that I introduced about 20 minutes ago with an imitation supply drop, but we'll try and give you a look inside the cargo area, because inside is a large Polish flag. Well, lined up on the runway is our next display item, and this is a public debut. Bob Grimstead in the Fournier RF4. Not going to display just yet, but due to take off very shortly. We'll see if we get one more Hercules pass before then. And when Bob does display, it will be his first ever pyro show in front of the public. But we'll talk more about that later, because it does indeed look like we're going to get one last pass from the C-130, and I think we can expect a few more flares on this one, Luke.
I hope so. We'll have to wait and see here. I know, of course, we're going to have the chance to see the massive flare dump a little bit later on in the nighttime portion. But this, the goodbye pass of the C-130E Hercules of the Polish Air Force.
Goodbye for now, at least. Well, in the bottom of the shot there, you can see Team Blanix being towed back onto the main taxiway. Sorry about that. Slightly sore throat after the hangar party yesterday.
We heard you had a good time. Well, Adam, in the background, I'm hearing the sounds of CCR and Fortunate Son, and I see the C-130 banking in, I think, for yet an encore pass, and that's not a problem with us by any means.
No, a display that just goes on and on and on. Oh, of course, I forgot. We can't have a Polish Air Force display here in Leszno without ending with a wing rock. But hand signals indicate that it is now inbound, and the crowd area has just become a sea of mobile phone screens, all pointing crowd rear as we build towards what is always one of the most photographed moments of Antidotum Airshow Leszno. The C-130E Hercules returning to us. We won't get sight of it until it's almost on top of us because of the stage behind us, but here it comes, the C-130E for a flare dump. Expectations met?
Met, 100%. 12 out of 10. Oh, that was so cool.
It's not bad, is it?